Robots. Talk to me. Yeah. Welcome everybody to another edition of Hassel's Review. And this week we got a comic review. So the friends of Geek Network, who we are proud members of, hooked me up with a first edition Transformers #1 from Robert Kirkman's Skybound imprint comics. So, in case you've been living under a rock, for years and years and years, Transformers was an IDW property. And they put out a ton of comics, some really good ones actually. But, you know, at the end of 2022, they lost the exclusive rights as Hasbro shopped them around. And, you know, they decided to Robert Kirkman, and they joined in a deal with Robert Kirkman and Skybound, which is actually a division of Image Comics, really. But his Skybound imprint is actually, they're calling it the Energon universe. So you'll have not only Transformers in this universe, but you will have the G.I. Joes as they're starting to do, you know, some Joe books here and there where it's going to be like Duke #1 and then so forth and so on, Cobra Command #1. They'll introduce them in like one shot, so to speak. This, however, is an actual Transformers title where it kind of like reimagines and just starts over from ground one. It's from what I read, it's very much a soft reboot of sorts. Daniel Warren Johnson is the writer, and the artist from Mike Spicer. I will say Daniel Warren Johnson does a great job as far as the writing goes. Spicer, on the other hand, his art is a little lacking. So, before I go any further, there is some spoilers. Your boy Hassel gives spoiler-ridden reviews. That's just what I do, people. I feel like you come to me because you want the Hassel's exclusive insight as only this asshole can give you. So, without further ado, here is my spoiler-ridden Transformers #1 review. So, the book kind of kicks off, and Spike's dad, Sparkplug, he's at a bar, and he's an old bit of a sot. You're not really sure what's going on, and as we call him a sot, I'll take a swallow of my good old natty daddy. Toast, Sparkplug. But he's a bit of an old drunk, and you're not sure what the real deal is or whatever. And Spike shows up with his girlfriend. I'm assuming his girlfriend, Carly. She's his friend. They show up and they get into a bit of a argument, so to speak. And Sparkplug, he's pretty tough on him. He's there's an dissension there. You don't really get why. It doesn't say. And it's just like, okay, what's going on here? Well, Spike and Carl, they get out of there, and they just go, and next thing you know, somehow or another, they happen upon the Ark, which apparently had crash-landed decades, millions of years, not really sure. It's been there for quite a time. It is crash-land, and it's shot into the side of the mountain just like it is in the old G1 cartoon. So you get that iconic image of the ass end of the Ark, which is always really cool. And when you go in there, there's Autobots and Decepticons littered about. They're all just kind of laying around in there. Well, the first one to show up is actually Jetfire, of all people. He just happens to find them, though. The signal was weak enough on the Ark for him to find it. Been searching for some time. Apparently, he had left Cybertron before the war, and he's just been out exploring. So he finds the Ark there. Well, he shoots a little wave in there that kind of starts to rejuvenate the bots, and at the same time, he actually does a convergence thing so that they all, you know, get their Earth modes. You know, you see the little scan go across, and you know, to help them blend in once they're revived, so to speak. So he's already looking out for his bots, and he's not even got them back. Well, the first one to come to is Starscream. And, you know, from the show, Starscream and Jetfire, they were comrades. So, you know, they kind of have get pleasantries with one another back and forth for just a second. And by the time Starscream just walks over and fucking shoots Bumblebee's head, very, very, very much along the lines of Megatron and Ironhide in the old G1 movie. Yeah, I mean, all he needed to do was say, "Such heroic nonsense," for it to just be a Megatron moment. So that was pretty gangster right there. And then Jetfire's like, oh, shit. You know, he's thinking, like, what the hell? Well, Starscream then goes, and he's fishing to black hole Jazz there. And, you know, he tells Jetfire he picked the wrong side, that he's either with the Decepticons or he's an enemy. And just before he can go to shoot old Jazz up, thankfully Prime revives. And they start to have a little skirmish back and forth. And this was one of the gangster moves. I will give, I'm not sure if this came from the writer or the artist, but even if though the art was trash to me, if this come from the artist, kudos. Prime puts a bed-in-the-back suplex on Starscream. He puts that Benoit on that motherfucker, and it's like just boom. So they start kind of going back and forth, and Starscream holds his own pretty damn good now. They made Starscream a legit badass in this. He holds his own pretty good. Not the level of what a Megatron would, but he does hold his own pretty good there. They go back and forth, and slowly but surely other bots start reviving. And Starscream just to better Prime a few times, and then they realize at this point, we just got to get out of here. We got to go. Because then some Decepticons start to awaken as well. And then they really start getting the short end of the stick, the Autobots do. And this was one of the cool scenes that I did like, you know, throughout the cartoon, he always had the trailer. The trailer just vanished when he, you know, would transform and had no real purpose or whatever. But the toy, you know, it had, you know, some functionality and things of this nature. So Prime tells Ratchet, he says, start loading the bots up into the trailer. And he does. He starts like literally loading the ones that hadn't revived up in the trailer. And Prime sees B, and he loses a little bit. And in the process, he actually loses his gun as well. And Starscream is about to get the better of your boy when Carly and Spike, they see this, and they intervene. They get in there to help Prime get his gun. And Prime, you know, acknowledges him and basically is, well, I guess you're the species of this planet. So it's very much an origin in some ways. I mean, you know the story, but it's a reimagining, a reawakening, and, you know, a new, like I said, a soft reboot of sorts with a more, I would say, at least PG-13 tone. Very, very PG-13 to soft R. It wasn't any cursing or anything like that. I mean, they're not like me, but it had a lot of good violence. It's got those dark undertones or whatnot. So they help Prime get his gun, who, you know, goes to doing battle, and Soundwave shows, and Soundwave's a bit of a badass. He does some cool things with the cassettes and whatnot. And Prime does straight up kill one of the cassettes. And I want to say it was Ravage, but I mean, I could. It's been a couple of days since I read it, so I could be mistaken. But I want to say he destroys Ravage, and Soundwave is pretty beside himself about it. And at this point, the Decepticons are getting the upper hand, and they have to get out of there. So to get out of there, they don't want to just leave the Ark there. And as much as they hate to, they have to sacrifice Teletran 1. So, you know, Prime actually asked Teletran 1 for forgiveness, and he blasted. Shoots him down, and they go to get out of there. They take Carly and Spike with them. In the process, Jetfire tries to escape with them, and Starscream shoots your boy down. He gets the better of old Jetfire. He shoots him down, and they go to this quarry off to this distance there that, you know, Spike knows about. And that's where the Autobots kind of regroup at. And that's where Jetfire crash lands and pretty much dies right there with Prime. And he apologizes, you know, for not being there, this, that, and the other. And, you know, they have their own little thing and whatnot. But, so that was pretty good there. Like I said, so Starscream was already, he's got 2 kills already. So, on the Ark, the Decepticons are all kind of regrouping there, and everyone on there low on energon. And it's at this point that it's acknowledged that Starscream is the leader of the Decepticons. And for some reason, he's the only one that has, you know, he's low on energon, but not like the rest. The others are, you know, weak. They're probably like your phone when it gets down to 15%. You get a little light that flashes up to let you know, hey, boy, you better recharge. He's not quite there. He's probably around 50, 60% still. So they tell him, look, we need energon. You're the only person that can go find it. We need you to go get it because, you know, everyone else is weak. And, of course, he's in true Starscream fashion, like, why do I have to do it? And then turns it into, well, me as the leader, I shall go do this for you. Like, you know, he's benevolent and just doing something for him. And it's just in true slithery piece of shit Starscream manner. And I love Starscream. He's one of my favorite cons. So don't take that as a negative from me, because that's what I love about him. He's just such a self-preservist, so to speak. So he tells him he'll go find it, and he shoots off. Well, he ends up at the plant that Sparkplug works at. So Sparkplug and his friend, who was named Dave, hey, good name, but they were at the plant. It was like an oil plant or something like that. And they're kind of going back and forth. And then Sparkplug's friend Dave, who had picked him up from the bar, you know, he pretty much starts to give him the business, like, look, man, you was a little hard on the kid. And, you know, they have a little back and forth or whatever, and Sparkplug basically tells him it's none of his fucking business, not to worry about it, and all this stuff. Well, they kind of have a pretty huge spat between friends. And this is when Starscream shows up. And Starscream, you know, starts, you know, kicking the little fleshlings around, or the little meat creatures, as they used to call them in the old G1 show. And Dave goes to kind of run off, and for whatever reason, Starscream just picks him up, and he's like looking at him, just like, you're so soft and squishy, and then just blood goes everywhere. And he even goes to cackle and makes a comment about how soft and weak the fleshlings are. So Starscream at this point's got 3. Your boy ended up with a kill count of 3 in a Transformers book. And not just 3 nobodies. I mean, you got 2 well-known bots. And I do love the fact that in Kirkman's universe, they did not do like they did in the movies and make Bumblebee into something he's not. Bumblebee is a scout, people. He is not the bullshit badass they have made in the Bayverse. I will say in the last Transformers movie, he was a little more in line, and I was fine with the way they'd done him. However, he is a scout, people, not a badass. In this, he was cannon fodder. Your boy never woke up. Done. So, that was pretty cool for me. So, Starscream, badass, 3 kill count. Prime, he's heroic. He's your, you know, he's our Prime. You can tell. Matter of fact, when there is a comment made in the book when Jetfire left Cybertron, he wasn't even a Prime yet. So this has been some time now since he found them. He told him, I didn't know you were a Prime. You weren't a Prime when I left. I didn't know you were the Prime now. And he apologizes to him, and he didn't realize the war had got as bad as it did. So all in all, man, it was a really good book. Solid. I love it as a Transformers fan, and I am a Transformer fan. I mean, I have Autobots. You probably can't see it, but Autobots and Decepticons. So I'm a G1. I love the book. Solid 4 out of 5 Hassels. Without fail, 4 out of 5 Hassels. The art, not so much. And I'm a bit of an art snob. I always have been. That was why I couldn't read some DC books back in, you know, my preteen to teen days, because I'm an art snob. So if the art's not good, I can't read it. I literally quit reading X-Men, one of my favorite titles, for about roughly 2.5 years during Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely's run, because I hate Frank Quitely's little mushy, elderly people. Everyone looks elderly. So in this right here, I'm just not a big fan of the art. It's about I'll give it a 3 out of 5, and I'm probably being generous for my taste. You may like it. Let me know. Drop a comment in the comments below. Let me know if you're a fan of the way the art looks. I've seen some other covers besides the traditional cover that artist done, and I believe the writer actually has done a cover himself. So I'm assuming He's done some good artwork as on the side as well. I'm not very familiar with the writer myself. I say because I don't read a ton of current stuff anymore, unfortunately. Swicker beer for the working man. But I have seen the cover that he done. It looked great. I've seen a few other, you know, because what number one doesn't get 40 different covers. So I've seen some other covers. They look great as well. Just not their interior arts. For me, you may love it. For me, not so much. So, all in all, story, book, everything, we'll give it a 4.5 out of 5 Hassels there. Solid book. The Kirkman verse or Inner John imprint universe, however you want to say it. Great job. I'm a fan of it. I think they will do great long term with the title, and I'm very excited and interesting to see what they do with G.I. Joe as well, because, you know, these are two that, you know, they go hand in hand with one another, but no one's really ever had a good run with putting them hand to hand for whatever reason. Now, we've got various crossovers during the years, and they'll start to be good, and there's somewhere it goes off the rails. So I'm interested to see where this goes, and does it have the longevity and staying power that it should have as its own shared universe. So let me know what you think. Shout out to our boys, Geek Network. Like I said, you know, we're part of the Geek Network family now, so thank you for allowing me to do this review. So kudos to you. Kudos to me for doing the review. I mean, you tuned into it, so why wouldn't it be a very Harvard's pat on the back? I mean, your boy is pretty interesting, but nah, all kidding aside. Let's show a little love to a few people. We'd like to give a shout out to our sponsor, The Zone Collectibles, 305 Main Street, Tifton, Georgia. Visit them for all your nerdy needs, where they do unity through community, fandoms unite. And don't forget, they also do Spotlight Media. And on Spotlight Media, on Roku, on Fire TV, we're there. Not just Hassel's Review, but the Nerdy Man Room Show with me and my co-host, Monster, where we give you our insight to all the upcoming and incoming things of the week. We have Geek Week. We have a different topic each week. We just done several cool things. We have a great interview lined up in the next few weeks. We're super excited to be able to announce soon. So stay tuned for that right there. And also, don't forget to give our boy, Big Rob, a Big Rob's House of Entertainment, and No Chinese Food, who has his own really cool button. We don't have buttons. He does. Check our boy Big Rob out. He is also on the YouTube. We are everywhere. We're on YouTube. We are on Roku, Fire TV, Geek Network. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. Just search Nerdy Man Room Show or Hassel Hutchinson, and you'll find us. So, with that being said, always read your Transformers comics until all are one.